I don't know if they got ice 50 to 100 miles northwest of us or not, but we were below the I-40 south of it delineation line, and we have no ice. Not a zero. 35 and raining. I figured head protection was in order this morning, so I have on my mom's jacket.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom.
Yep, she's gonna get wet this morning.
I am.
Because it's raining out there.
Though. They're like looking through the window.
Oh, yeah.
They're not at. Are they at the window?
No, but I was
now?
gonna show them the.
Yeah.
You can see the rain's really coming down.
Slates up on the platform. I'm gonna have to hunt Tux and Gray. Maybe they're in the hutch.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get wet getting your paper?
I'm gonna get wet getting my paper.
Yeah, but he's got protection too. Guardian Angel special.
Yeah, I got my $3 rain fly on.
Yep.
I got my sweatshirt underneath that. I put my blue jeans on because my sweatpants always get wet, and I'll come in and put my sweatpants on when I read
back on. Yeah. Well, don't get too wet. At least it's not the first, like tomorrow.
Yeah,
when you got to go under the house and read meters, and you got extra stuff to do outside.
I got extra outdoor stuff to do.
Yep. Because I haven't been complaining about construction and overgrowth enough in the last couple of months, I just thought I'd show you guys the site plan for this new large 800,000 square foot shopping center just north of the Sheets at 5 Points in Fuquay. It'll basically be across Highway 401 from the ABC store and the townhomes over there. They are getting ready to start working on the road changes there at that intersection, and it said 8 to 10 months they'll be starting the actual building construction. So should be interesting because that little artery leaving town was currently unaffected by traffic or construction issues, and you know, if Johnny and I are back on the road in the fall, we would certainly be going past this construction area every day. Be hard to go around it, especially with the other I-540 areas that are under construction. There really wouldn't be a better alternate. So Highway 55, the other side of town, we have a new bank being built, a brick and mortar bank being built. And Don's reading all this stuff all the time in the paper about the failure of brick and mortar banks.
Yeah, Wells Fargo, which is based out of Charlotte now, is basically announced they've got to cut $3.7 billion, and so they're laying off, closing, reorganizing, giving people opportunities outside of Wells Fargo.
Right.
I don't mean to make light of it. This is a serious thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, I actually considered being a bank teller for at one point in my life.
Right. Well, it goes back to I had saw one of these podcasts on investing, and the one thing it said, if you
not to do
is that don't anything about branch banking is dead. People are going to be banking on their phones.
Right. Well, with the credit union now, number one, their teller people are centrally located, and they get on a video chat with you. Our credit union was way ahead of the game on that, and that way it's just much more secure for the tellers, because even if they can't really rob the machine as easily as they can money in a drawer. And the guy, you know, the people running the windows aren't physically there, so you can't hurt them. You can't use people's emotions. The money, I don't think they get robbed anywhere near it. But they were doing that years before anybody else was doing it.
Yeah, they're not even in Anthem branch.
They're downtown Raleigh in a building, and that building is secure, and they're not so they can just really protect the one building and not so much the other stuff. And then there are a few people at the branch, but not the window tellers.
Yeah, but they're the people who give
loans and
stuff.
open up accounts for you and that
stuff,
kind of
yeah.
stuff. You're really not getting more money out without preparation,
Right.
besides what you can get out of the machine. So, and then, you know, now we have an app where we can deposit our checks without having to physically show up. We take pictures of them and endorse them and take pictures of them, and then in 7 days, if it's in your account, you tear up the check, you're good. You never have to go to the bank anymore. Don used to mail his checks in.
I used to mail them in.
Yeah, the couple that would
Mail
come that were not directly deposited, he would mail them in. And so, yeah, I mean, the last time I set foot in a branch was the day I helped Johnny open his account. So no doubt the opening an account and
that's
showing,
gonna go.
I bet they'll figure that out too. Because if you can endorse a check at home and get it deposited into your account, even large sum checks, why do you got to show up to open the account? But anyway, the last time was when I helped Johnny open his account, and that was it. So I totally agree with the assessment. So we were surprised that they were actually building a branch on the other side of Fuquay.
Yeah, that just sort of scratch your head.
But I guess most of these banks right now, they still have to have a small number of physical branches.
Well, it really goes along with your last little clip about that new shopping center. I mean, I get it, grocery stores. I mean, people are going to be using grocery stores.
Fresh groceries, yeah.
Yeah. But I guess, you know, Target or something like that, I mean, Amazon is really pushing those business models quite a bit.
Well, in the comments, I saw people wanting Target. This would put a Target on the other side of town. There's one in Holly Springs on the west side. This would put one on the east side. There's not one at 4042 out near Michelle. So, and there's one in Garner, but, you know, so I agree I think that's a possibility for Target. And then people were saying Hobby Lobby. I guess AC Moore went out of business.
I guess. I don't
Well,
know.
people really want craft stores. Again, there's one by the Target in Holly Spring. Yet Don doesn't do crafts, so he doesn't get it. Stop with the eye rolling. So the women of Fuquay really want a real craft store on the other side, over there and there. But I'm sure it will be fine dining because we all need to eat out more, not. So we'll call this the Sunday morning newspaper segment with Don. Well, it's raining out there today, and plus these things are fairly interesting. So Don was reading about an application, not an app, really.
The state of North Carolina bought from a vendor, I guess, a custom application to administer the vaccine, except for it doesn't schedule appointments. It doesn't send text messages to the people who, you know, when to come to, you know, remind them of their appointment. It doesn't do anything like that. And according to the people who are actually using it, health workers, it's very slow. It slows them down. Their job is to get needles into arms, and its job is to absolutely make sure no needles get into any arms. You know, it's the inverse. But don't worry, this was cheap at half the cost. It was only $7 million. So I guess I would have hoped that Biden, and this is not picking on Biden or anybody, Governor Cooper, it's nothing. When these big companies like Amazon offer to help, what can they do? This is the kind of thing that should have been done. I can't imagine why I cannot go to Amazon with my Prime membership and order my vaccine and it tell me when I need to show up to get it. I mean, it's like, just put it out there on it for, you know, 1 cent, and I can order and it would say, oh, well, that's going to be shipping on Thursday, October 14th. You know, I could see how they could just drop it in there. But no.
Right. Well, the other thing Don said is, shoot, we could have done that with InfoMan in a couple of weeks. A couple of weeks and 2 developers.
Less.
Yeah, well, I meant to test it and think it through and get approval. You know,
I'm sure it's got out the wazoo.
Right. Well, I'm sure, you know, and I mean 2 developers. I mean like me and Don. Don could have done the heavy lifting on the API HTML screen or stuff, and he would have had me doing all the spell checking on the verbiage, and it certainly would have been as good as anything Tesla ships.
Well, I guess the thing is, I don't know what it looks like. They didn't get into how fat it is, but I suspect this is a real heavy, fat solution with lots of things that nobody's really using instead of focusing on the core. You know, we need to get this vaccine. How many on hand do we have? How many shots? How many slots? How long does it take per slot? You know, it's really very relatively. I mean, this is not. You don't need AI to do this. This is just, you know, mundane, run-of-the-mill order entry scheduling software. This is nothing complicated. It just happens to be a vaccine this time.
Right. Well, to be clear, the application we worked on was a help desk application, and it had the ability to have phases of the problem ticket, like, you know, open, assigned, fixed, you know, whatever. And it was totally customizable, and it could send text messages and
all that stuff.
Don, he didn't write the API for the web, but he's the one that made the web interface sing for customers, starting with a few large enterprise accounts. So he did all of the heavy on once the developer said, okay, here's the set of tools that we think might go to an HTML page, Don was really the one that made the HTML pages work. So they could be on a computer from anywhere using the web page to do this updating, even though it's on the mainframe back at the state building or whatever. So anyway, just a waste. It's that's sad. That's sad.
I agree.
Of course, they'd have had to buy the software, but I assure you, Don and I would have worked for cheaper than $7 million, even for like 6 weeks, even, you know, just some reasonable, you know. Anyway, it's sad. Don just called Dish, and they did email him a shipping label to get the equipment returned, so that's good. Handled. I'm going to work on a new building called the Corner Candy Store. This is another set of plans I bought off of Bricklink that was on my list of buildings to do. I have my I have my blank green 32 by 32 stud plate, and I'm not as happy with this set of instructions as some of the others. Like, this is step 1. And I've zoomed in a bit. I'm just supposed to be able to go do that, which I'm sure I can. That part's pretty simple. But some of the instructions down the line, I don't know. This is step 2. Like, come in and put all of this, or 3. Come in and put all of this stuff in the background on the bottom. Again, I think I can do this, but it doesn't show the parts list of what you need and how many. It's just a picture of the Lego Digital Designer kind of screen. So these instructions might be a little bit harder to follow, but I can't do anything more really on the mineral shop until parts come this week, and I can do this flat part of this plate. It just give me something to do for a few minutes, not too involved. I'm feeling pretty dizzy today, so at least right at this minute. So I think I can manage this. You brave the elements to go to the garage for tools?
Yeah, I couldn't find my little meter. I had to bring my clamp on. I'm going to install these indoor, in-wall 10, 20, 30, 60-minute off timers. They're decor. The square, they're white, so they'll go in place of the switch for the fans in the bathroom. The cats keep turning the fan on.
In Johnny's bathroom, because the switch is right near the counter.
That's right.
And they just rub their head against the wall, jump up there, and they turn it on a few times a month.
Yeah, and they had like a fire sale. Well,
lightning.
They had some kind of a deal on Amazon. I got 2 of them for $20, or $19 and change. So I said, well, you know, for $10 a piece, I can fix this. And this day's a perfect day, all rainy and wet.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Well, we're here in the dark because obviously Don had to cut the power while he worked on this wall outlet. And this is where the control for the fan is. So this is where the new little timer control is going.
Yeah.
Don says he's ready for a video. It's done in here. I don't think he's been working more than 20 minutes, and a lot of that seemed to be figuring out which breaker cut the power to the box.
Right. The I have one of these testers that finds the breakers, because our power panel is not labeled very well, and so I put my alligator clips, because there is no there's no plug in the wall that I know that tied with this. I mean, the GFIs, this is not on the GFI.
Sure.
So I just used the little pigtail thing, and it worked okay. It usually works better than that, but I actually had it didn't work quite as well as I'd hoped. Anyway, Mary Ann said, "Oh, the light turned off."
Yeah, we were down to the old. Did the light go off, kitten? Yes, Donnie.
Right. Yeah. Well, but it had it within 2 breakers. So the second breaker that could have been, this thing said could have been, was it.
Okay.
So the first breaker wasn't it. So, but anyway, I'm reasonably happy with it. It does work. You just push it, the little button right here, and if you look carefully,
Yeah,
you can see
the red light.
Right. If you push the button, it does it for 10 minutes.
Uh-huh.
And if you push, and if one more time, it'll turn off. So that's good. All right.
Okay.
Because normally you're just going to hit it for 10 minutes and walk away.
Uh-huh.
That's right.
Okay, I like it.
All right. So the only thing is, as you can see, it's white, but it's not exactly the same white as the Levelor white.
Oh, you mean that Lego brick problem,
Yeah,
where
it's
white and it's not white and gray is not gray?
Not quite.
Uh-huh.
But it doesn't look bad. The other thing, this device was very large. And this box was not crowded. Basically, it just had 2 single pole switches in it. So there's lots of room in this 2-gang box. But that thing, with its 4 wires, because it has a ground, and they're all stranded wires. Ground wire, the red wire, which is the controlled wire, goes to the fan. The hot wire and the neutral, you have to hook it up to the neutral here. And there was a neutral in this box, thankfully. It took up a lot of room. And so I would tell you, if you're in a really tight box, especially if you've got 3-way switches in there, I would say this thing might be a little hard to cram into the box. But I mean, it worked well here, but let me tell you that it is now plenty full.
So I noticed all 4 screws, the flat heads are horizontal. Are you sure you don't want them like this one, where both of them are vertical?
Maybe
I knew that you did that on purpose, because you're you. Yeah. I'm thinking, I just thought it was cute.
Yeah, well, the other thing is, as you can see, these levelers, it's very easy to line them up and get them right. By adjusting them so that they come up even. And this one, because it doesn't have a nice little rim around it like that, it's not quite what I call perfect, but it's good enough.
Absolutely. I was just teasing you about the direction, because I knew that when you put this one back together, you made sure they were all pointed the same way.
That's right.
I knew you did that. Right. I bet if you go look at everyone in the house, because in 2013 when we remodeled, yeah, Don replaced every outlet in the house, and I'll bet they were all pointed the same way at that time.
They were all pointed, so this...
I call it attention to detail.
This because it's loosened up over the years.
Well, if the first one was a piece of cake, what does that make this one?
Actually, I don't know. I think it'll be okay.
An ice cream cone?
Yeah.
Melting in the summer heat?
Yeah. Well, the wires are really pretty heavy. It says it's
They're stiff.
Well, no, they're just I can't read. They're like 14. It's only the switch is only rated for 10 amps. Yeah, 14 gauge wire. I mean, that's pretty heavy wire for 10 amps.
Wherever I am, nighttime's not far away.
What? You don't like the noise?
No, not really. I'm not a big background fan noise person.
Yeah, like the blower in Ruby when you're doing your video? You don't like that either?
No, The only time I like a little white noise is when I'm actually drifting off to sleep. Anyway, number 2 is done. We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
I didn't clock it, but I've been working on it 2.5 hours maybe. I'm at a stopping point on this one until some bricks come. It's not so much this stuff that's missing out here, but these little studs on the side, they have little flat 1x2s that need to be affixed. And probably before I go higher, because you got flat pieces and then more of these studs and then more on the front and then more, you know, it's a process. So, but I got more done today than I expected, I guess, if I want to look at it like that. And this one is called the Corner Candy Store, and there will be a candy store on the first floor. I'm smiling because one of the Fuquay cops pulled up beside me here at South Park and had a question about Pokemon Go. And I enjoyed chatting with them for a few minutes. And I did raid with the local Pokemon Go group for Raikou and caught him. So mission successful. I'm gonna spin on Johnny and Ruby's accounts and then head back to the house because it's a little after 5:30 now. Being a good girl, I remembered. It's just over there negotiating with the car. There it goes, solid green there in a second. And it'll kick back on at 8:30, although it's Sunday, so it wouldn't matter today.